There we go. There we go. Hey, everybody. Happy Talk It Up Tuesday. This is what happens when you do too many shows. I was about to call it something totally different. Happy Talk It Up Tuesday. This is Michael Demond here with you from We Merge Media, marketing director of Be Well Magazine, here to join you today for Talk It Up Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in for today's show. Today is going to be a hot topic, something that was inspired by some conversation we had here with our internal team, and something that we believe is pretty relevant to a lot of the people that we talk to on a regular basis because it has to do with business, has to do with protecting your family and legacy and wealth generation and all that good stuff. But it also talks about something that a lot of people may not take in consideration is that a lot of people have been on a journey and ended up at a place where things aren't quite what they probably hoped or thought it was going to be. So we wanted to host a conversation here today just to kind of talk about that, share what inspired this show and this topic. So we'll have some conversation. Of course, joining me today is going to be our lovely founder of Be Well Magazine and also the co-host and our community director, is it? You have to let me know if I did that wrong, Amani. But let me bring up Amani Ray and Carmen Ray up to the screen with me so we can go ahead and dive into today's topic. So how are you ladies doing today?
Good. Feeling energized for the first time on a Talk It Up Tuesday.
Get a power nap.
Yeah. Oh, that power nap will do it every single time. That's awesome. Good to hear. So today's topic, what y'all think about it? Are y'all ready for it?
Yeah, I'm so ready. I'm so glad we simmered down though from yesterday because I would have been way too geeked if yesterday. So I've had a chance to kind of breathe, process. But I am so ready for this necessary topic. Like we just got to create some transparent conversation about things that we know that's plaguing people at a really deep level, and I'm here for it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about because that's what it's all about. Really, we can't really make and help people get the transformations that they really want and need if we aren't willing to talk about these have these transparent conversations and talk about these topics. So do us a favor, everyone. I see that some of you are out there watching in all the various places. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Let us know that you can hear us and can see us by hitting that share button and bringing some more people into this conversation. If you did not read the description, this show, we titled it, What Went Wrong? What Did We Do Wrong? Because we want to talk about all the things that everybody is witnessing and seeing happen. A couple things that really stand out to me as signs that we're probably dealing with a problem that needs to be solved is the fact that we all know about banks collapsing. You know, we talk about currencies collapsing and getting weaker, and the cost of living is inflating. So it's harder for people to make a living. But some of the stuff that really, really was startling to me was the fact that there's an increase in poverty rates among older adults. People who have reached that age of 65 and older are maybe ending their professional career and transitioning in retirement and finding themselves in this situation where the money that they had planned for retirement is no longer enough to supplement their income and to provide and fulfill their needs. So to me, that is a sign of a system that has some issues. And I just thought that it was important for us to have this conversation here in our Be Well community and with everyone in the public who's watching this. So that's kind of where I'm coming from and what I thought about that. I want to get from Amani and Carmen kind of like, what do y'all think about what we're seeing taking place in society right now?
Wow. Well, I want to really come to this from a place of what it looks like in the results of making poor decisions or ill-informed decisions in your younger years and how it will impact you, your children, and generations to come. Because so many times, people are just not really able to talk about the realities of their poor decisions and the long-term impact, and I'm just really comfortable enough in my journey to be able to share those things in hopes to help inspire other women entrepreneurs in my age group to know that it's never too late. Like it's never too late because sometimes we get paralyzed by previous mistakes and we just feel stuck. But the reality is that we are in a season of being able to have more clarity,
Mhm.
and what we decide to do in the second half of our lives still can really positively impact our children. So that's my position from it. I'm grateful that I have examples of women entrepreneurs and women who were career oriented, and they made some better decisions, or I'll just say different decisions. And I can't wait to delve into that, because even though I have some regrets, I have some crazy successes. And so sometimes I struggle with that, in between the regret as well as the opportunities that my decisions made that put me in rooms and positions that I'm just not sure if I would have taken the safe route that I would have had those experiences. So, Mike, I'm really excited about being able to really engage our audience today. About what that looks like when we take responsibility and be prepared to self-correct for the second half of our journey.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I think a lot of the time when I think about the impact of what's going on in the world and my generation in particular, we tend to think in bubbles in our own reality, and we tend to be very disconnected. I don't want to speak for our entire generation, but I can definitely say there's a stark difference between the amount of news that's consumed from like our parents versus, well, I have older parents, but our parents and what we consume. We get a lot of our news and highlights from Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, the shade room, stuff like that. So it's interesting our response based on how we are consuming the information about what's going on in the world. And I think for me, I almost avoid the news, which I don't think is the best decision, but I think is best for my mental health a lot of the times for this season in my life. But I try to keep up enough to stay connected to reality. And I think that being in touch with reality is the importance of knowing what's going on in the world and knowing how it impacts you. And a
Yes.
lot of times we're disconnected because it doesn't impact us. But I come from doing a lot of work in the community. So
Mhm.
whether some stuff impacted me or not, I tried to stay, what's the word, abreast? I'm trying to use
Abreast.
abreast.
Yes.
I'm trying to use more um I'm trying to use different words. I've been reading a lot more over the past several months
Trying
now,
to exercise them
and I'm
skills.
trying to exercise the different words that I'm learning in these books. So I definitely think that it's just important to stay in the loop on what's going on, whether it affects you or not. And that's what I'm learning. And I have my news source right here in home. So my mom she gonna let me know what the latest and the greatest is. I'm not even gonna get started on that.
So I want to pull up a couple of stats that kind of were startling to us when we were talking about, what were we going to talk about for today's show, and then we're going to play a video clip from a podcast that we all watch and we kind of share things and talk about quite often amongst ourselves that we're going to introduce you to, and we're going to play a clip from that video that we want to share with you and just kind of get some intake on. So one of the first one of the first facts that I saw was that over 15 million, or roughly 1 in 3 older adults aged 65 and up, are economically insecure. When I was reading this report, it talked about the ability to be able to pay for housing, increased costs of food. And when you're on a fixed income, if you have your retirement fund and you have your Social Security and that's maxed out, it's not in a way where you can increase that, or it's kind of just set at what it is. You're at that your thermostat is set to that point, but yet everything around you is increasing. So it's end up creating a situation where there's a lot more people who are finding themselves insecure economically. The other thing that was quite interesting was that older women are more likely to live in poverty than men as a result of wage discrimination and having to take time out of the workforce for caregiving. So we know that there are quite a few people who, all of us, as you age, you might come to that point where you have to make some decisions to care for your family, care for a loved one. Not everyone has the financial means to be able to hire somebody else to do it for them, and that ends up impacting your ability to take care of your own career, your internal house. Plus, if you have to help and take care of someone else, your parent or a loved one, now you're adding even more costs, but now you're taking away the time that you might have to spend on your career. So that's creating some part of this problem too. And then the last thing that I saw was that in 2020, the unemployment rate for age 65 plus skyrocketed to its highest annual rate, meaning it's been the increase was higher than it had ever been before. So all of that is pointing to me, as they say, what is that? Red flags. To me, all those things are red flags. And I want to just kind of touch on too. Amani talked about we always talk about like the generational, the range of people from in the Be Well community who are just starting adulthood to people who are in the later years of adulthood. For anyone, depending on where you are in that spectrum, this is something that we want you to just kind of keep in mind and think about. You may not be at that point yet where you have to directly worry about how the cost of living and all that stuff is impacting you with a fixed income. However, you want to be taking note from the things that we talk about today and the things that we share today so that you can take preventative measures to position yourself in a different way so that you can have a different outcome. So those are some of the things that we wanted to share with you and just some little seeds we want to drop with you. But all those things are quite important. We have some comments here. Jojo Pa says, yes, the financial security is not what my mom had. It shifts, it changes. What is that? Like they keep on moving the carrot. You know what I mean? You like it looked good 20 years ago to say you were going to get an X amount of dollars, but it don't look the same now in this time. So there's a lot different here. We have someone checking in. Tatum, Kathy, thank you for checking in. Houston here, collaborating voices. Thank you for tuning in. So what I'm going to do now is play a clip for you from the Social Proof podcast. This is featuring Mr. Donald Bradley, who is the founder of Planet Marketing. And all of us here, not I can say everybody in Be Well, but a good old percentage of us have waken up and realized the opportunity that this business provides for us and have just been sharing the word and letting people know about the opportunity it can provide for them. But Mr. Bradley was featured on the Social Proof podcast just a few days ago. And we want to play an opening clip, just the first 40 seconds, just to kind of set the tone for the conversation. And then we'll go ahead and get into it. So let me go ahead and get that pulled up for you. And then we will come back to the screen here and have a little bit of conversation about what we heard and see what you think about what Mr. Bradley shared. So 1 second here while I get this screen share set up for us. And then make sure share screen. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and make this full screen. And let me make sure my volume's up.
Your company making a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Do you have any stats on that?
There are people making anywhere from extra $500 a month up to $105,000 a month. Planet Marketing sent out over $170 million in commissions to the people who build this company in commissions. So absolutely, I feel amazing about it because of what I told you about earlier about poverty. There are single moms and single dads and stay-at-home moms that are able to live more comfortably, live in better neighborhoods, put their kids in better schools as a result of, the opportunity that I created. And absolutely, I feel amazing about it.
All right. Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof podcast. We find dope people.
Okay. So, Carmen, can you open us up a little bit as you hear that? Because you introduced me to this opportunity to be part of this company. I want you to kind of let us know, what did you see that really made you see the world in a whole different light and find another way to kind of prevent some of these things that we're seeing so many people experience as they age and get older in life?
Absolutely. A couple of things that I've seen. One is the older you get, the less tolerance you have for a lot of different work environments. And so your temperament is going to be different. My temperament was different in my 50s than it was in my 20s and 30s. Like I could kind of go with the flow, but there's just some life experiences that if you have been on that entrepreneurial path, there's ageism. That's a real thing. And the way technology, like when I kept finding myself in these different customer service roles, like I'm all about, in my generation, it's all about taking care of the customer. But now, because we're dealing with so much technology, I would constantly rate very, very high in customer service, but I always got dinged by employers because my speed and my with the whole technology piece. So when I was introduced to Planet Marketing, I seen this as an option for me. And plus, after so many years of being an entrepreneur, I know the risk that's involved when you do a traditional business. So I already seen, like, so you're saying that I could take a $200 investment and really learn about industry that supports my lifestyle because my kids are grown. I wanted to travel more anyway. That's something that I'm open to. But most importantly, I was ready to make an income that was going to follow me. I'm exhausted from running after the income. And so the decision that I made in 2016, each year, those decisions and those relationships that I've built, that income is following me with the team that I'm building is following me from year to year. So I don't have to start over every month. And so that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss out on, the power of network marketing, because they're looking at it from a lens that's just really not accurate. It's imperative that you find a product or service that resonates with you. Like if makeup is your thing, I would never tell a person don't do makeup. Leverage that thing that means the world to you. For me, it's travel because that fits into my lifestyle. That's what I want to do. Every 3 months, I want to be going somewhere at this stage in my life. So if I can earn money and income off of showing other people in my network how they can earn money and do what I'm doing, because most of them are already traveling, they're very well traveled. And so it just made sense for me. And just letting people see that you can't beat the personal and professional development, and you definitely can't beat the networking that's available. But you just have to have the right product, service, as well as the leadership that you can respect.
Mhm. Yeah, those are some very good points. And you're right. I had a conversation with Dr. K, the doc of health and wealth, the other day, and she pointed out something that I was like, ooh, I heard that, but I never really processed and it never really resonated with me. You talked about, being able to build a business where your income follows you. And Dr. K also talked about the fact, she said, like, when I learned that all the time and effort that I would put into building my Planet Marketing business and my IntelliTravel business, when I put all that time and effort, I'm building something that has some longevity to it. When it comes to the Planet Marketing business, she realized that the system that she builds, the team that she builds, if something was to happen to her and her income from that Planet Marketing business that she built, she can pass that on. So she was like, when I found out about the legacy part of being able to transfer that wealth to my family member, even though I'm no longer here, she said that changed everything for me. And she's like, think about it. How many years have you been putting into WeMerge Media? How many hours have you put into WeMerge Media? What happens if you don't show up and do the business and talk to the client? And I'm just like, wow. And like, I spend a lot of hours working in my business, but if I stop, guess what? That's like, so that really, really puts stuff into a perspective that just had me like, I'm sitting here sitting on gold and not even fully utilizing it.
Yeah. And we got a custom before I turn it over to Imani, because she has gained so much insight about this. Like I'm elated about her just understanding the business model, because one thing that Mr. Bradley taught me is that retirement is not about age, it's about income. Ooh. It is about income. It's not about age, because these young people, they have figured out this technology. I remember having a conversation with JoJo Pye about 7 or 8 years ago. She was like, these young people sitting in their kitchen becoming millionaires.
Right.
Like, and I was like, that's true. They really are, because with the technology. So, here's the thing, who we rule people out. When I first talked to Dr. K about this business about 3 years ago, I assumed, okay, she's a doctor. I'm not going to talk to her about the legacy and all of that. I'm just going to talk to her about travel. Right. So she came into business like most people do, didn't really understand the value of what she had. She didn't make it a priority. But because we assume people won't get it, when it is up to us to take our time and educate people over an extended period of time, because what I think may not appeal to you can very much appeal to you. And Imani can kind of talk about that for her experience, because she was a big no for 6 years, and then all of a sudden it clicked. So it's really important that we have those customized conversation for people and not use our experiences or our perceptions of people to rule them out. So that's what I just want to add to that part of it.
That's good.
And my mom has been preaching timing and positioning like crazy. And that's exactly the definition of the journey I've had so far. For 6 years, I tell this story frequently that I continue to tell my mom I'm not interested. And it never came from a thoughtful place. It was just like the shoe people at the mall. Like you just
Like I'm good.
yeah, you just keep brushing it off and don't even understand what it is you're brushing off. And for me, the timing and positioning piece resonates because the timing of me focused on my personal development was perfectly in alignment for what Planet offers, with what Planet offers. Being able to wake up in the morning early and be on a motivational Zoom call with amazing leaders and get the insights that you need to go about your day beyond just your business. Like the first thing they said this morning, like, welcome to the Inspirational Morning Vitamin, where you can come and get a chance to learn not only about your business but about personal development and growth for for yourself. And so they support us as individuals, as leaders, beyond what it is that we offer to the business as leaders. And I think that is so powerful and it's so important. And when I think about the timing and positioning piece, I am realizing, like my mom said, $200 investment. $200 is pennies compared to what people are out here charging for personal development.
Yeah.
So everybody gets in for one reason or another, and everybody stays in for one reason or another. And so I came in, I was like stoked about the travel and all that, the lifestyle travel. It just looked very appealing. But I stayed in because my mom, like hearing her on them calls and then experiencing it and then connecting with all these other amazing individuals, I was like, oh yeah, this is the perfect season for this opportunity. And so I'm just really excited to push this narrative a lot more to the younger generation, because it may not be an extensive travel experience they're looking for. And sometimes it may be, and it may not be the longevity and the opportunity to leave a legacy that they're looking to participate in. But everybody has a connection to being able to develop as a person and grow as a person. So that's my language when I'm talking to people, helping people see how they can choose themselves by investing $200, paying a monthly fee like you would Netflix or going to Planet Fitness, and getting access to individuals who can give you insight that can change your life. And it has completely transformed my life. So I totally advocate for it from that perspective, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Awesome. Yeah, these are all like all the stuff that y'all talked about. I can relate to each of those different stories. And yesterday, I believe it was, I got the privilege of being able to hear from the testimonials of the directors within the organization that we're with, and just hearing their testimonials, hearing what they've been through, hearing how even as they go through those things and have attained such a level of success, that I'm just like, I would have broke. I don't know that I would still be standing the way that you're standing, looking the way you're looking, going through what you've gone through. And it was just like, it really made me check myself and want to rise up more. You know what I mean? Just to be able to hear what people have gone through. There are people who have like a lot of responsibility in their business, teams to manage and all this other stuff. And they still find the time to make it work because they're able to see the value beyond. Like my site was limited to like, oh, I want to save on my trips. That's where all I cared about, saving on my trips. But they see it on such a deeper level, and watching and listening to Mr. Bradley in that interview on the Social Proof podcast, like all this is really kind of giving me a different perspective. And I'm just like, this is a very powerful thing, because to do what you can do once you make this minor investment, I know from my own personal experience, it could take a whole lot more to get access to all these things, getting access to the network, getting access to learn the industry of travel, which is like a multi-trillion-dollar industry, learning and having access to the tools that they use to generate that income. Like those are very powerful things to be able to have access to. So me saving a couple $100 to go on a cruise, it's still fun. It's still something I'm gonna do, but I'm starting to see it in a whole different light than when I first
Yes,
came into it.
yes. It's just so important that we just stay open to learning,
Mhm.
and that we don't become emotionally attached for other people's lack of understanding. I
Mhm.
spent the first 3 years in just this really high level of frustration and anger, because I've always been, I support a lot of people, but it's very few people that I follow.
Mhm.
And when I see a leader, that has a certain level of integrity, the fact that, Mr. Bradley didn't have to do this business because he was already a multimillionaire. He was good with his family. And so I just looked at how his leadership and how he moved, and see if that's something that I could really, really respect. So I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and they find themselves thinking, in order for them to be part of something else to help them generate their own wealth story, that they have to compromise on what it is that they're doing. And that's a really, really, really big mistake. And so I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs like, oh no, I already have a business. I'm like, listen,
I
Planet
said that.
Planet Marketing is clearly Mr. Donald and his wife Deborah Bradley's business. Just like the Amazon man, that's his business. That's like any other business. But if you are so close-minded that you cannot see your business and your dream within somebody else's dream, I immediately seen this as a way for me to develop systems and skills. I have learned so much from Planet Marketing and been able to duplicate some of the models, some of the things I've learned from the top leaders in the company, and apply it in my business.
Right.
And we can't be delusional about this wealth conversation. Like, a lot of us don't have the money to invest in our traditional business to give us the growth that we need. This
True.
could be something, because of Planet Marketing, I've been able to invest heavier in Be Well, because now I have the cash flow that I can say, okay, but let me get this person, let me get this system. And so those are the real conversations that we want to have with people, because at the end of the day, how you spend your 20s and 30s is going to determine how you show up in life in your 60s and beyond.
Mhm.
So many young people as I can get to see this thing, like, it's trillions of dollars in travel. Young people want to travel anyway. So do the fun stuff, because it ain't gonna be so fun when you get older, when you don't have that disposable income to move like you want to move.
Right.
So I'm just really, really grateful that we're creating the space and Be Well to have these real conversations, so we can start building, we can start supplementing our income. Mr. Bradley's thing is make it, save it, and invest it.
Mhm.
Because if we're talking about investing and we can't even pay our bills, that's a conversation that's just not realistic. So get yourself into a network marketing company. We just happen to know Planet Marketing is the best, but we just happen to know that from me, for being in 6 years and talking to so many other network marketing. I love the fact that I don't have nobody has quotas on me. I don't have to book so much travel. I don't need to get so many partners. I don't need to be doing all of this stuff that I know when you're dealing with a product-based business, you have to keep purchasing and re-up and re-up and to be able to make any money. I understand that, but it's just so, but if that's your thing, see, it's going to be effortless. If you're already in that area of health and wellness or whatever your thing is, that's going to work for you. But just find yourself a way that you can take the minimum amount of risk and start adding that extra income, because before we get to financial freedom, we got to have financial flexibility. Just an extra $300 to $500 a month could really change your zip code. So I just want to encourage people to just have a more open mind, and let's have conversations with young people. Like, do you really need that next name brand pair of shoes? Can you really skip that and take that money instead and invest in a business that can change your life, your children's life, and your children's children's life? So I just want us as senior and seasoned adults to be more realistic, because my mother and father told me things like sporadically, but no, I wish they would have sat me down and said, nope, you're not going to do this. We just need different things as young people. And they told me what to do, what not to do, but they didn't tell me why. And sometimes we need to explain to young people, tell them the truth. Like, this is going to be how you're going to be impacted in your later life if you don't have these things in place. Like, you ain't going to be getting no senior housing. I know seniors live real good in Arizona if they got about a good $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Like, they got all kind of senior communities. So when people say people come to Arizona to retire, no, seniors come here to suffer if they don't have the income. They come here to suffer when they look at the mountains and stuff. If you don't have the income, the people that come here to retire is people that can afford to retire.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that $5,000-6,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's what it takes if you want to be comfortable and enjoy yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You don't want that in between.
I promise you don't.
That's good. That's good. So this episode was just another one of those touch points on a very important conversation that we all need to have, just about achieving liberation in our life. We have been setting up and talking about over the past couple of weeks how people can gain some time freedom, how they can gain financial freedom, spiritual freedom, and personal freedom to really just be the person that you want to be at your highest level. Everything that we do, everything that we're working on here in the Be Well community is really about obtaining that. So here's what you can do. If anything that you heard today that you resonate with, if you're heard something and you just like, I need to know a little bit more about what is Be Well doing? How can I leverage Be Well to help me achieve my goals? How do I get into this travel thing that they're talking about? Like any of that stuff that you want to do, the way that you can get started is going to be quite simple. And I'm going to just share my screen with you so you have a visual to go along with the steps that I'm going to tell you to do. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to just simply go to BeWellMagazines.com. You're going to end up on the homepage, and right here, you're going to see free 15-minute chat and a button to schedule a chat. That's going to connect you to Carmen's calendar, where you can choose a time that is available to you, and just schedule a brief chat so that she can find a little bit more about what is it that you want to achieve, how can Be Well help you leverage everything that we're doing and get you access to the resources, the coaches, all the people here in the community. All you need to do is just schedule that little 15-minute chat, and then we will help you go from there, because there's just so many different ways and so many different people who may be a great asset to you in helping you get where you want to get. But don't be afraid to just have the conversation. You ain't got to do it here publicly in the chat. You ain't got to do no lives. You can just simply schedule a private call, have a conversation, and let things go from there. So before we close out, Carmen or Monty, anything y'all want to say in closing?
No, I think this was a really great, straight to the point episode. I love the conversation, and I love how matter of fact we are and how clear we are. And I want to talk about that next episode, because sometimes people hear conversations like this and they hear the clarity, but they don't know what it took to get clear. So I would love to do a follow-up conversation about the journey to clarity, because I'm loving where we all are as individuals, being able to conduct this conversation the way we did. But man, the journey to get here.
Oh, true. You better write that down so we don't forget that when we talk about next week.
Yes, that's gonna be good. Let's get that banner up for next week. That's gonna be
the journey to clarity. Woo, we all got a story to tell with that one.
Right. Yeah, but it's worth it, because when you get there, you know what, you feel it in your spirit, and your posture becomes really strong. Like yesterday, listening to Social Proof podcast, it called me to action. I'm like, we sit up and suck up so much free game and we don't invest in our next level. I have been faithfully listening to Social Proof for 2 years. Mike, you put me on to them, and it's part of my morning ritual. But have I joined their morning meetup? No, but I have gained so much from them, and being a part of the things that you've exposed me to through Bond to Build. Like I would have never known about Social Proof. So it's imperative that we be prepared in our finances and our mindset to go to the next level. You only gonna don't go so far getting everything free. And what I'm willing to do is just help you to get some clarity and share a little bit about what I've learned along the way during that 15-minute chat. I want to hear where you are, where you've been, and where you're looking to go. And if I can't help you, which I highly doubt, if I don't have the resources, because really it's about me understanding that collaboration is the new currency. And so I have a wealth of knowledge with people that can really take you from point A to point B. And so when you set up that call, that's what we're going to be talking about. And that is totally free. So I hope to hear from you.
Listen, you are getting a chance to talk to the master connector. That is not just a title. Like, that is a real thing. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you do, or what you think you know. You have to take advantage of the master connector 15-minute free call, because whatever you need, she'll find the right way to get you connected to what you need. And we just have a little comment here from my good friend Yo. She said, I would like to be invited to that conversation about clarity. So that's next week. We're going to do that next week, Yo?
That would be awesome. I would love to have Yolanda part of the conversation.
So come on, Yolanda, I'll get you the link. We're going to get that set up right away so people can mark their calendars, join us for the conversation about the journey to clarity. And let's get to it. Schedule that call, okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We truly appreciate it. All right. Y'all have a good one, and we will see you next week, Tuesday, on Talk It Up Tuesday. Take care.
Next week.
Bye-bye.